Most people have seen these trucks on the highway. Few have stopped to understand what was actually built into them, and what the people who drove them knew that nobody else did. This is the real scale of the biggest American trucks of the 1970s. Before 1974, no truck manufacturer had ever written down, in any official product document, that a driver deserved to stand up inside his own bedroom. Kenworth changed that. In 1974, they introduced the VIT package, Very Important Trucker, with diamond-tufted interiors, extra insulation, and larger sleepers. It was the first formal acknowledgement by any manufacturer that the owner-operator deserved a product designed around him as a person, not just as a cargo operator. Then in 1976 came the Aerodyne Sleeper, the first factory-raised roof in the industry, 7 full feet of headroom, tall enough for a grown man to stand upright inside the cab he called home. That wasn't a comfort upgrade. That was a manufacturer finally deciding that the person behind the wheel was worth building around. And the W900A was the truck that carried that decision down every highway in America. Andy Anderson from Forreston, Illinois, ordered a brand new Peterbilt 359 in 1969 for $26,000. He drove it for over 20 years, 2.5 million miles, no accidents, same Cummins Big Cam 400 under that long aluminum hood. The 359 could be ordered with a fully aluminum cab and bunk, one of the lightest Class 8 tractors on the market, which for a produce hauler meant direct margin on every load. It also vibrated hard enough to shake rivets loose from the chassis over time. Every buyer knew that. Nobody cared. Because when a 359 went by on the highway, long hood, dual stacks, that turbo note climbing through the gears, the numbers stopped mattering. Some trucks you buy, some trucks you commit to. 600 horsepower. That is what the 1973 Freightliner Powerliner could produce with a Cummins KTA displacing 1,150 cubic inches, 19 litres, the largest diesel engine ever installed in a serial production American truck. And the driver sat directly above it. No hood, no engine compartment between him and the road, just the cab floor. The cabover design wasn't an aesthetic choice. It was the only answer to federal length laws that made conventional tractors commercially unviable for most routes in the country. Bob Petite ran his 1979 Freightliner full-time for decades. His assessment? The heater under the rear bunk practically drove him out of the cab on cold nights. The plastic dashboard was the only weak point visible in a truck built to outlast everything around it. There are 5 more trucks on this list, and each one made a decision that nobody talks about. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest. Mack created its own worst problem. The company founded Brockway Motor Company as a subsidiary to reach markets where Mack didn't want to compete directly, and Brockway started building a long-hood Western conventional that was getting dangerously good. When the Superliner design became too strong to ignore, Mack absorbed it and shut Brockway down. The company that built its most dangerous competitor had financed that competitor with its own money. On the East Coast through the 1970s, R-Series trucks were identifiable at night on the grades of the Pennsylvania Turnpike by the orange flames dancing above their twin exhaust stacks. Thermodyne diesels under full load, burning visible into the dark. That wasn't a malfunction, that was the signature. Drivers knew what they were running, and they ran it anyway. £144,000. That is what the Super Transtar could pull with a Detroit diesel 12V71 V12 under that short cab, and the driver sat directly in front of the front axle, with nothing between him and a head-on collision. Safety professionals at the time had a specific phrase for that design position. The driver is the first one to arrive at the scene of the accident. That was a technical description, not a metaphor. Jim Park drove a Transtar in the late 1970s. His words: nimble, smooth on a long wheelbase, plenty of power for its time. What he didn't need to say, a Detroit 8V71 at high RPM inside that small cab produced noise levels that physically hurt. Drivers called that character. They meant it as a compliment. Kelowna, British Columbia, is not where you expect to find the answer to what the American West needed from a truck. But that is where Western Star built them, one at a time, to order, for loggers and miners and off-road operators who needed something no mass production line would ever spec for them. There was no standard Western Star. You told them what the terrain demanded, and they built it. In an era when every other manufacturer was optimizing for volume, Western Star was optimizing for the specific problem of one specific customer. The White Motor Company was in chronic financial trouble through most of the 1970s. The engineers in Kelowna knew that. Every truck they finished during those years was built like it might be the last one, because there was a real chance it would be. A cabover puts the driver above the front axle with nothing ahead of him. No hood, no engine compartment, no structure between his body and whatever is coming the other way. In 1977, that same design, that specific vulnerability, was chosen to transport an American space shuttle on public roads. The most expensive object the United States had ever built, moving down a highway on the back of a truck whose driver sat completely unprotected at the front. The 1976 Aerodyne added a raised roof tall enough to stand in. But when the cab tilted forward for maintenance, everything inside that wasn't secured fell directly onto the windshield. Drivers who lived in those trucks developed precise rituals before any service call. Tilting the cab meant turning their home upside down. They did it anyway, every time. Why would anyone choose to sit directly above the front axle instead of behind a long hood? The 352 exists because that question had a concrete answer. Federal length laws made conventional tractors commercially unviable for most American routes in the 1970s. So Peterbilt built a cabover with a taller cab, a larger radiator, and an expanded engine compartment capable of housing the most powerful diesels on the market. The problem was solved. The cost was physical. Drivers who ran the 352 on rough roads described the same sensation. Lose your focus for a second and your head hits the roof. No hood to absorb what the road sends up. Every bump went straight into the body of the person at the wheel. They knew that before they signed the order. The 352 was the truck the market needed, built exactly the way the market refused to pretend was comfortable.